Hi there, I'm Jeff Schwartz, and this is the Schwartz Performance November shop update video where we show you all the cool stuff we're working on out in the shop. So let's go check it out. We've got a lot of the wiring completed on this 73 LeMans, and the leather wrapped dash is back in place, and the instrument cluster and so forth is all wrapped up and ready to go. So still progressing, and it should be running and driving real soon. And the 78 Trans Am is back in the shop after all the interior's been upholstered. We're just buttoning up a few things, putting the gauges into the upholstered dash, and last little things like bleeding brakes and so forth before we can drive it and do the final tuning on the engine and transmission. And this LT5 powered Camaro is all ready to rock and roll, except for we had a little leak in the tire. So that's been fixed now, and now we're ready to do all the final drivability, and it should be ready to go to the customer here in the next week. We're still waiting for those customer supplied HRE wheels to get reworked and get back here for this Elephant powered 70 Charger. And once that is here, then we can start driving the car and get it fired up. There's a couple minor electrical things that need to be finished up, and we're ready to rock and roll. This is the Cutlass G-body that we've been working on. Did some mini tubbing and chassis installation. This is a 455 Olds, and it is in the chassis and ready to go to the customer. So customer is going to build the rest of the car. We do this many times where we bring a car in, mini tub, put the chassis in, and then you can take it home and finish it yourself. And we have another Challenger project that arrived, so we'll be working on that once the chassis is completed. And this was the Challenger that we completed the fabrication part of the build about a month and a half ago, and it went out to be lightly dipped and then e-coated. So it's come back. It was lightly dipped to get any minor surface rust that was had accumulated on it, and then e-coated, dipped, and now we're putting it back together lightly so that the paint and bodywork phase can begin. So we're going to be doing bodywork, final gapping on the doors. It must be on the chassis for that, so we're bolting in the chassis, putting the doors and deck lid and stuff. The bodywork will get done, and then it will get removed from the chassis to be painted. The custom dash that we got for this 68 Chevelle and custom console are now in the car and have been fitted there. We've still got obviously more work to do on it, but take a look at how those things look. This is the 66 Chevelle that has the 1,000 horsepower supercharged Wagner LS3 engine in it, and it's been painted white, and this has these cool one-off carbon fiber fender vents that we made for it, as well as some cool vents in the hood. This is being final assembled now, and it should be ready to drive and dial in the near future. This is another new project, a 67 Pontiac LeMans, not to be confused with the GTO, and it is going to remain a LeMans. This one has been media blasted to get all the old paint and stuff off and see what we've got. Unfortunately, we found a fair amount of rust, so we are repairing some areas of rust and replacing the entire floor pan, the entire trunk pan, and quarter panels. So we've got it covered because it's all freshly blasted and we don't want to get any rust on the raw metal. We're going to put this stuff in fairly quickly, and then we'll be getting this in epoxy primer to proceed with the build. We have pulled the engine, most of the engine components out of this Chevy Monza project, the twin turbo car. The engine is on the floor on that pallet right in front of me, and it's going to the engine builder. It's basically just an empty shell of an engine. So it's going into the engine builder to be actually assembled and all the guts put in it. And now we have room to fabricate the firewall and the toe boards of this car. So we've got that out of the way. We're going to be fabricating that next, and hopefully that engine will be back when we're done doing this, and then we can move on to final bodywork and painting. Over the years, we've built many cars with OE looking wheels, either steel or aluminum, that accept a factory hubcap like these Forge lines. I was really excited to hear that Forge Line started making these a few years ago. So from that point forward, we're now using these Forge Line OE series wheels for any of those types of build. But this is that 54 Chevy truck we've been looking at the last couple of months. This is a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. A massive meat on the back of this truck. It's got a 502 ramjet in it, as you saw last month, and it should be pretty easy with the transmission that's in here at 4L80 to really roast these tires. But these are going to get the original factory hubcaps from this truck. They're a little weathered. Personally, since we got nice shiny wheels, I'd probably rather see new reproduction hubcaps. But anyway, we're trying to keep as many original parts on here as possible, so it kind of goes with the theme. And I'm really digging this project. What do you think? So we've still been doing more of the build on this CUDA project. The serpentine is now on it, and we've fabricated the air intake tube. We've got to do coolant tubes and various other things to make it a running and drivable car. So we're still working away on this, and we should be doing the exhaust system pretty soon. This 64 Jag Mark II is going into the body and paint phase tomorrow. We have fitted some of the re-chromed pieces on here just because the body guys want to make sure that the contour of the body fits the chrome pieces nicely. So they don't want to put too much body work in those areas, and they want to make sure that all these pieces fit nicely in its finished state. So generally, if we don't put these on here, they would get put on by the body man when he's doing his final body work. So anyway, tomorrow we start the final body work phase on this. So most of the time when we sell chassis, we prefer to just put wooden wheels on them and ship them by a car carrier directly to your door. It's a lot more convenient for you, and you get the chassis delivered right to your door, and it saves you some money. But occasionally we got to crate up chassis and ship them out where it's required to crate them. So in this case, this is a chassis that we had to crate up that's going to Iceland, a Mustang chassis. And we also just had one going to Hawaii that also was required to be crated in order to go to Hawaii. Typically, if they're going in ocean vessels, they got to be crated and put in a container and so forth. So anyway, most recently, whenever we needed a crate, we'd call a crating company. There's 4 local ones that typically build crates for us, and then we just chuck them in there and block them and securely fasten them and ship them out. But this time we couldn't get anybody to sell us the crates. So nobody wanted to do 1 or 2, they wanted to do 20. So anyway, I went to the lumber yard, grabbed some lumber, and I made the 2 crates myself. So I had to show my guys that I know how to do stuff too. And here we've got another Corvette chassis going together. We've recently revised our Corvette chassis, so keep that in mind. If you need a C1, 2, or 3, we've got you covered on all of them. We're just getting ready to put the IRS cradle in the back here with the double A-arm independent suspension. It'll hold 1,000 horsepower, so can't wait to see this thing in the car and on the road. These are those 2 SLC cars that you've seen previously. These are a full aluminum chassis. They're built by race car replicas or Superlite cars in Michigan. They're a phenomenal piece of engineering. CNC machined billet aluminum, upper and lower control arms, suspension uprights. The entire chassis is aluminum, front to back. Awesome cars, weigh about 2,000 pounds, 2,200 pounds complete. I've got a 730 horse LS7 in that one. I've got Hewland sequential transaxles for both cars. And you can see they got wheels, tires, brakes. This one has two tails, the race tail and the street tail. So they are both for sale at a very reasonable price. These are currently right-hand drive cars, and the passenger compartment has a center brace down the middle, and it's offset slightly to the left. But there are plenty of room to relocate the pedals to a left-hand drive and swap out the rack for a left-hand drive rack. So very reasonable price, and they're for sale. So if you'd like one and you want one quick, these are available now. Give me a call. If not, I may end up building the green one, and I would do a twin turbo setup like I did on the red SLC that I did the turbo setup for Stacy David on his show Gears. If you want to see that, Google it. It's on YouTube. I just watched it yesterday to refresh my memory, because if I don't sell this pretty soon, I'll start fabbing a twin turbo system for it. But anyway, these are both for sale. Keep an eye on our website for any updates. Be sure and hit the subscribe button. We will be at the SEMA show October 30th through Saturday the 4th. I am competing in the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Invitational. Most of the competition will be held at the SEMA show, the Autocross, the Peak Performance Challenge, the Design Engineering Challenge. All that competition will be held during SEMA on the SEMA grounds. The only portion that won't be there is Saturday. We're doing the road course out at Las Vegas Speedway. So if you're out there, come say hi. I'll be hanging around the Optima area. There'll be 3 motorcycles from my motorcycle collection. They'll say Schwartz Performance on the gas tanks. Those will be on display in the Optima Oasis, I believe they're calling it. A big Optima display next to the South Hall where the trucks and wheels and tires are. So it's behind the Renaissance Hotel in that parking lot on the one side of the SEMA show. Check that out. We're also scheduled to exhibit at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals held in Rosemont the weekend before Thanksgiving. So if you're down there, we will have a booth. We will have a special Pro Touring G-Machine muscle car with a large cubic inch GM engine, our G-Machine chassis, and a dry sump oiling system and a manual transmission. So you'll have to come see the show to see which car it is. But this car has never been seen in a public venue or show previously. So come check it out. We will also have a chassis. We're hoping to have a Corvette chassis done, but in either case, we will have a chassis on display at the Muscle Car and Corvette National. So once again, stay tuned for next month, and hopefully we'll see you at a couple of those events.